So this week we're going to be talking about what are called frictions in the labor market. Okay, so most of economics assumes away what we call market frictions, or sometimes we call them transaction costs. Okay, consumers are assumed to be able to costlessly find a good of perfectly known quality for sale, while producers are able to costlessly find perfect buyers willing to buy their product. So basically, consumers, we as consumers, we know everything that is relevant to the quality of a good before we buy it, right? And we know, and we can get to, there's no waiting at the store, there's no searching for a seller, there's nothing there, right? So imagine that, you want an MP3 player, right? And as soon as you decide that you want an MP3 player, a person selling an MP3 player that you know is perfect appears in front of you and says, "Here you go," right? And then you give them money and you get the MP3 player, right? And then on the seller side, what we're assuming is that there's no uncertainty about the buyer giving you a bad check, or the credit card being declined, or anything like that. Okay, so everyone basically finds all the buyers instantaneously and costlessly find a seller who's willing to sell them the product at a price they agree at, and the sellers can all instantaneously and costlessly find a buyer for their product as well, that they don't have to worry about at all. So there's just no uncertainty whatsoever in the world at all. Okay, and so this is clearly a simplifying assumption that in almost no way resembles the real world, right? For one, you and I, if we want to go buy something, we either have to drive ourselves to the store to purchase it, or we have to get online and go on Amazon or something like that and type it in. How archaic is that, right? It's just awful, right? Clearly, this is just terrible, right? And what these frictions do, right, is introduce what we can call sort of a new opportunity for profit. Okay, and the profit comes from removing those frictions. Okay, so we see these all the time. The grocery store, which is one of my favorite examples to use in any lesson. The grocery store is an incredible reduction in the frictions in the food market. And what it does is it brings together food from all kinds of places into just, one central location. So, the farmer who grows the corn, the farmer that grows the potatoes, the, Lay's potato chips, and the Anheuser-Busch InBev now, right, with the beer. All these different sellers put their product in the grocery store. And now, as a result, you and I don't have to go and call up each and every one of them to get food on our tables, right? We just go to the grocery store, okay? We can think of online dating websites as being means of reducing what we could call search costs, which are another form of market friction, right? They reduce the search costs of finding other single people in your area. Websites like Craigslist or eBay or Amazon, right? These are also means of reducing frictions in various markets by finding new, lower cost ways of connecting buyers and sellers. Okay, so while the world has these transaction costs or these frictions in it, all these frictions do is introduce a new source of profit, which is just removing that friction, right? And so the labor market has its own set of frictions that really aren't that much different from the ones we've just described, right? At the same time, though, this subject of frictions in the labor market is incredibly important, and the debate is huge, right? Especially if we consider the fallout from the financial crisis in 2007 to 2009, right? And how slow that recovery is going. If you think about it, all the professional economists in Washington, D.C. tell you that the recession is over, right? We're back, everything's good, right? But millions of people around the world don't feel that way. And so is it really over? Well, that's a question for another class. But The basic point here is that it is tough to find jobs out there, right? It's not exactly as easy as it's ever been. Think about like your parents graduating from college. What did they do after they graduated from college? Well, they went to work and they bought a house, right? What are you going to do after you graduate from college? Well, hopefully find work and you get to pay back student loans, right? So the world is different now. And so we study these things as economists so we can understand and hopefully someday improve. Another reason why these frictions in the labor market are more important or getting emphasized is that the 2010 Nobel Prize in Economics was awarded to 3 people for their work on markets with what we call search frictions, which are basically the frictions related to searching for buyers and sellers or matching buyers and sellers, right? So while some of the ideas that I'm going to talk about may seem very simple, there's huge and tremendous debate within the economics literature today. So if you decide that you want to go to graduate school or learn more about economics, like this is a topic that will get you a job. Like you study this, you will find work, which is a weird thing, right? If you study frictions in the labor market, so if you study the difficulty of finding work, you will find work. It's a kind of paradoxical thing. So I'm going to spare you most of the technical details of the current debates in here, but I do want you guys to sort of think about these things, and I'm going to include some videos to lectures, the Nobel lectures by the 3 winners in 2010, so you can watch them at your leisure. Right? They're tremendously important. These guys are phenomenal speakers. I highly recommend watching them. It's absolutely fascinating. That said, they're long, so grab a drink and watch them because they're excellent.